Video kicks in. All right, you ready?
Is it lagging?
No. Well, it's a little bit of latency. Anyways, what's up, guys? I'm Taylon.
And I'm Erica Deshay.
And welcome to
The Spotlight.
All right, guys. Today, of course, this is our first ever podcast that we're gonna be doing with you guys today. So, what we're gonna be talking about today is the disintegration of the black family. Where did it start? You know what I'm saying? How did all of this happen? Like what exactly led to the way that the black family is today? All right. So, first, Erica, where would you say that it started? Like when it all started, when the corruption first started to come into the black house.
Slavery.
Slavery?
Yeah, because if you think about it,
Let me move the microphone real fast.
Oh, so we're talking to that?
Yeah. Well, we're not talking directly into it. They can hear us.
Oh. Okay. Well, if you think about it, during slavery, there were black families, but they were considered legitimate families because black men were pretty much breeded.
Right.
So if your quote-unquote husband or whatever was sold, never to see him again.
Right, and then
the woman had to.
Right, it creates the strong.
Yeah.
Black woman.
Yeah, because like black men were literally like treated as bucks, like breeding. Like, oh, let me get the strongest. He's strong. I need him. Regardless if you had a family, kids, none of that. You were property.
So basically, what they really wanted to do was, separate the black man from the family in general. And what that caused was for women to become stronger, become a little bit more rough around the edges.
Yeah, because we had to endure shit. Like, not to mention. So if you think about it, hell, the black family low-key never had a fighting chance because we never got a chance to.
Right. Well, I think, we had spoke about this a while ago. We had already spoke about this. I said that I believe that it came from war times, because after slavery, it made the black people as a unit more. It made them all more united because of everything they've been through, and knowing that all the odds was already stacked against them, and these was the only type of people that they could trust was their own.
Yeah.
So with that being said, when for instance, military times will come around, they'll do these random drafts, and a lot of people know exactly, and a lot of people know that if you start going to the military, they usually get married before they go, and who you was before you went to the military and who you are after you come back from the military, you will be a completely different person. Especially back in those days during like World War I, World War II, where you could only be infantry if you was black. You wasn't real. There were no black pilots and black engineers or anything like that.
They weren't even allowed to go that far.
You know what I'm saying? So they would see all types of crazy stuff, like close friends that they learn to meet, get killed right in front of them, things of that nature. So when they come home, they're damaged. They end up being more abusive, more of alcoholics and things of that nature. And nobody's going to stay around to deal with that type of stuff, So when the household starts falling apart because this is how he comes home, the children see that. You know what I'm saying? The children see what this man is, or this arguing that is going on within the household, this abuse that's going on within the household, and it can mess up somebody's state of mind. So I feel like that's really when the households really started
You also got to think about the feminism movement. Me personally, I don't think the feminism movement was ever made for black women, to be honest. Because if you think about it, like while men were off at war, right? Who had to work? Black women had to work to support their families.
Right.
So by the time they got home, they, got it in their mind that they can do it by themselves or they're independent and so on and so forth. Not to mention, also when it comes to like education and stuff.
Right.
Like we started being able to go get the same jobs men can get, going to school just like men. So it kind of like knocked black men out of the demand market when it comes to like jobs and education and so on and so forth.
Right.
So I think that has a part to do with it too, because it's kind of like from then on, depending on your household, it was instilled in you that, do it yourself, get it yourself. You don't need a man to do this. You don't need a man to do that, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like a generational thing.
Right.
To where there wasn't a man in the household. So we got used to not having a man in the household. So it's kind of like sometimes, depending on what household you came from and how you were raised, some black women were raised in a household with a man, so they know how to be, a family unit versus someone who wasn't, who saw mom do it all, so she's gonna do it all.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's a thing. It's a good and a bad thing, to be honest. Like, it's good to be self-sufficient. It's good to be, being able to do it by yourself, but at the same time, you don't want to come off as strong to like, I don't need no man. Right. I don't want no man. And I feel like, what I need a man for? And I'm just like, I don't know about y'all, but
right.
I like men.
I honestly feel like, personally, the odds was already stacked against black men from the beginning, from the jump. It was already hard for us to find jobs, things of that nature. So we ended up getting used to settling.
It's kind of like y'all, when women started, working and having to do it, it's kind of like it knocked y'all out of the not being able to be providers because we were forced into that role.
Right. And I know I was raised, when I was being raised, I was raised to be, solid, tough. I didn't have the opportunity to be, vulnerable. It wasn't okay for me to cry growing up. It wasn't okay for me to show my emotions, and that kind of breeds, for people to, how can I say, it kind of created a situation to where most men aren't very sensitive.
Like emotionally aware.
Yeah, they're not.
Or like have emotional intelligence when it comes to stuff like that.
Right. Or especially like having someone vent their problems to them. That also creates a problem in the household when, as a man you're too tough to listen to someone's sadness or to coddle someone when they cry or anything like that, and that within itself can drive a wedge within the family.
Yeah.
When we was being raised, we was always raised to be confrontational. Like if someone hits you, you hit them back. You know what I'm saying? If somebody, does something to you, you know what I'm saying, you don't really be the bigger person. You don't really get that message until you get older. You know what I'm saying?
Until you get older and shit happens.
Yeah, until consequences follow your actions. You don't really get, the lessons to think more logically in heated situations.
You have to figure out like, okay, so I can't just go around whooping ass because you get consequences. Like you can't just go around hitting people and expecting everything to be okay.
Right, exactly. And then with all of the sorry guys, I'm lost for words every once in a while. But all of the problems that's for the black people in general, from prohibition and the Great Depression, how it affected black people a whole lot more and things like that. It made it to the point now to where like they could only be products of their environment. The only way they can make some real money, you know what I'm saying, was doing what they had to do. And then when they did what they had to do and got caught for it, Now they have felonies. Now it's harder to get jobs. You know
yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
like me and you have two completely different backgrounds.
Exactly. Like you was raised, in a family that knows what marriage is and things of that nature, and I wasn't. So it was like some certain things that you talk about, like I couldn't
Yeah.
really understand those type of situations yet. I didn't really get why she needed me to be like a certain way or listen a certain way to certain things, instead of responding. Sometimes I need to just listen. I'm still figuring that out myself right
Sometimes you just
now.
gotta let me run my mouth. Let me say what I need to say, and I'll be cool.
So what do you think is the main problem that destroys families today?
I feel like honestly, it plays on both men and women.
Right.
Like I know I see on Facebook all the time where because I like to look at both angles. I don't ever like to be one sided, especially when it's something I'm really not familiar with. So I think it comes from both men and women, and once again, that just comes from a disconnect we have as a people, as a community, because we don't know any better, and we have to figure it out
Right.
as we get older. And most of us don't figure it out until it's damn near too late.
Right.
So I think it's both men and women. Like, so when it comes to women, me like myself, I didn't, really grow up to have my dad around. So right. I kind of had to figure out what a man was. I had to figure out what to look for in a man. Bump my head 1,001 times versus a girl who grew up with a man in the household. She knows because he taught her that.
Right.
So some girls, not all, but some girls, they end up, having a baby by the worst of the worst of the worst because a lot of us don't know any better.
Right.
Like, it's like we try and find that love and validation somewhere, and it typically never works out. Like, we as women got to do better with who we have kids with and picking who we have kids with, because if you see red flags, you see signs. Ding, 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 ding. And then also, as men, need to be some type of guidance for their kids or for not having a broken household. A lot of us come from broken households.
Right.
And once again, that's a problem. A lot of us don't know how to be women. Well, not women, but how to be feminine. And some men don't know how to be men because we were lacking in something.
Right.
So I think it comes on both parts, to be honest.
Right. Like, for instance,
there's really no you. It's more like we as a community need to get it together.
Right. And like, for instance, like as I was growing up, like I never understood the concept of being like a hard working, person, because like with me and my mom, we struggled majority of our life, so it was like, I seen my mom get up and go do it, but like every man that she was messing with at the time wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying? So because that's what I was around, if I knew that he liked to play the PS2. So what did I do? I played the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to draw because he drew, but I didn't learn to get up and go to work every morning because
it's like every
exactly, like they come with their own lessons within themselves, but not all of them teach the lessons that need to be taught.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that happen in young relationships too is that, they buckle themselves down with somebody before they even know themselves.
Yeah.
So you can't really know how you like to be treated until you know what you actually like. You know what I'm saying? You it's hard to know what you don't like when you haven't really been around to encounter those things that you just don't like.
Right.
So when for instance, when you're young and you know you want a girlfriend, but why do you want a girlfriend? You don't know that yet. You know what I'm saying? You don't,
or really how to maneuver with the girlfriend, which is once again,
that's a big problem.
Exactly.
Like you want to still do single shit, but you have a girlfriend now. So like they're not thinking about the fact of she's just worried about my well being. They all shit like she
want
always
to tell
calls.
me what I want to do,
exactly, or she's calling to see where I'm at, worrying about where I'm at when that's not what it is. She really just wants to make sure you're okay and stuff like that. Like I know for a fact that, like, for instance, with the mother of my children, like, me and her relationship was not good at all, but half of that is on me as well, because she would call, I wouldn't like when she called, what I'm saying, or I want to spend more time with some homeboys, and she, what I'm saying, like, so now the way that she reacted to those things that was the problem, you feel me, but because I still feel like there could be so many other things that I could be doing other than what I was doing, which is another thing. Like
it's
a lot
like
of females,
you kind of learned what to do as you were going.
Exactly, and a lot of females don't, they don't like to, they don't know how to like just talk certain stuff out. Like once something pisses them off, is oh, I'm here to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Like they start talking belligerent. You're this, you're that, you're not shit. You know what I'm saying? And then the majority of the stuff they saying to you aren't true.
Right.
It's just they're saying it out of spite at this moment because they're upset. So a lot of people don't know how to control the attitudes. So that leads into the destructions of young families as well. So it's like it's just so many different variables that can mess up a family. Like for instance, you can have a complete honeymoon phase basically the whole time you're in high school, but they never really think about the fact of like, okay, I'm not around her all day. We're not sharing a house.
25, 8.
Exactly. We're not, we're not having to see each other every day. We're in school, so I see you while I'm in school, but I don't have to go home.
I don't know I don't know what it's like outside of school.
Exactly. So when they see someone outside of school, they're a completely different person. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they don't like that person. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes they're already in too deep. Hence, they have a baby, and this person is pregnant, and now you're in too deep to just like leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? So you try to make something that's already toxic work.
Right.
And
like
that just makes
if you don't have a good foundation, then it's bound to fall apart. Exactly. It's bound to crumble. Like I saw some meme on Facebook, and it was like a leaking pipe, and somebody just slapped some tape on it. It was like the relationship, boom, a baby, just like slapping a piece of tape on a big ass leaking pipe that's about to explode.
Right. But see, that doesn't fix it. You know what I'm saying? And really having a baby when you're not really ready makes it worse. A lot of people may have babies at a young age before they find themselves a career path, before they know what they want in life. So when you add a baby to a situation where you're already trying to get yourself off the ground by yourself, let alone with someone else,
it makes it
harder. What I'm saying? It makes it harder. And then when you add a baby to the equation, it's now you're literally taking care of a person. Now you have to worry about it being fed. Constantly making sure that all the bills is paid no matter what. Then when you both work, you have to find babysitters. Babysitters aren't cheap. Now you have to have a car. If you don't have, you gotta have insurance. You gotta have, and all of that stress can cause friction within the relationship. Because, like for instance, say he goes to work all day and she's a stay-at-home mom, but when he comes home from work, he's dead tired. So what does he do? He wants to sit down for a quick second, relax, and he goes to sleep. Wakes up the next one, does it again. The woman will eventually start to feel like all I do is sit in this house with this baby. All you do is, leave and come back. They're not thinking about, oh, you go to work and come back. You leave and come back. You know what I'm saying? And because you leave and come back, it's just like, damn, like, what am I?
And this is kind of like another reason why, like, when it comes to, like, having kids, like, a woman goes through a lot, like, while she's pregnant, after the pregnancy, and all that stuff. Like, if we do have kids, then we gotta be super, super straight.
Right.
Like, super straight to where, I'm emotionally supported and so on and so forth, because I'm going through a completely new change. I don't know what the hell going on.
Right.
I just know I'm growing a life inside of me.
Exactly.
And just based off the stories that I've been told, some of my friends, they baby days done some trash stuff to them while they were pregnant.
I know some ain't shit ass baby days. I ain't gonna lie.
Like that is just like, woo.
Listen, ladies, I've been needing to tell y'all this for a minute, okay? If this nigga wasn't shit at first, if he was already disrespectful in some way, shape, or form. If, like, for instance, he would call you out of your name, he might make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, it's just normal. He'd be like, you know what I'm saying, man, bitch, whatever. You feel me? Females will get used to that type of shit. And then they'll like that type of shit. But then when the baby comes in, they expect for this person to be somebody completely different. And it don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay attention to those red flags. Like, if he ain't shit before the baby, he definitely ain't gonna be shit after
the damn baby. Like, I don't give a damn how much I love somebody or anything.
How much money he got.
I don't care about none of that. Like,
that's what kills females. They love street niggas, and these street niggas really ain't shit. Like, go get you a nigga with an education. You know what I'm saying? Find a nigga who got a 9 to 5. Just because, you know what I'm saying? Find a nigga who got a 9 to 5. And if you don't like the 9 to 5 that he got, or he's not satisfied in the 9 to 5 that he got, push him to do something better with himself. Because those are the people who you are going to get your security with. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if y'all young, you know, most men don't really get into their career, like deep into their career, until they're in their late 20s. You see what I'm saying? So because of that, like,
ooh,
what?
That's went down the wrong way.
That shot just got you together. Matter of fact, let me hit that one time. We're gonna take one.
I think it's so.
You know, we got the Ciroc. I said Ciroc. The Ciroc black raspberry.
That's why I also think it's so important. Yes, things happen in a marriage. Everybody knows that things happen in marriage. Not everything works out. That's just life. Sometimes that does happen. But I feel like if you have a baby within a marriage and it doesn't work out, that's security not only for you, but your children as well.
Right.
Like, because if you go to court or whatever it is, then that's some type of commitment. That's basically like, let me commit to you before we have kids.
Right.
Like,
but
and
see,
if it
that's
doesn't,
another.
And if y'all don't work out, then you don't. Because when so.
But I feel like that's another thing though, because a lot of
it was a piece of this, just a piece of silk. Wait a minute, you gonna see it? You might see it. Oh well, you got it.
Anyways, so that's true, but I can say, damn, you made me lose my train of thought. What did you say?
Secure in the bag.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So basically, I feel like, you know, that a lot of men feel like marriage is a trap. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact the way that I was looking at marriage at first is that the only person who benefits from this
and
is
that's
the woman.
Crazy because me and you have two totally different looks on marriage. Like, because, you know, because of my grandparents, like they still are in love, like they're 20 years old.
I see marriage from you know, when social media is a powerful thing. So social media will blow the worst of marriages. It never talks about the great marriages. Mm-hmm. It only talks about the bad shit. You know what I'm saying? So because it only talks about what's going on that's bad in marriages,
you don't see the benefits of marriage. So, like, it's more than just about money.
You see millionaires get divorced and have to come out millions of dollars to their wife. You know what I'm saying? You hear that when you're not married and you're like, what the fuck? Hell no, I be damned. You know what I'm saying? They hear about, you know, how people have problems trying to deal with their kids and visitation and things of that nature.
Like, some divorces, they can get ugly.
Exactly.
But at the same time, there are a lot of benefits to marriage. Like, for example, God forbid if, you know, we got married and something happened to you and we're not married, I don't have say-so in anything. If you might have told me where you want to get buried. You might have told me what you want. But at the end of the day, I don't have no say-so in that. Like, the spouse is the automatic next of kin. So they make the decisions on everything. They disperse who gets what, this is where this is going, and so on and so forth. And then when it comes like filing taxes, when you file married, filing joint, that's a bigger tax refund. When you do married filing jointly, you can get loans, bigger loans, faster loans when you're married. Like, people don't look at that. People don't think about the benefits. They just see the downfalls. And not to mention, if you didn't grow up in a 2-parent household, you're giving your kids the chance to see what it's supposed to look like.
Exactly. And then that's not even including, you know, the fact of, like, all of the other stuff that you get that's beneficial. You know what I'm saying? Like in court, for instance, if you're trying to fight for your kids and you have a baby mama who isn't, you know what I'm saying, the best of baby mamas, you know, just like there ain't shit, there's not shit baby daddies, there's not shit baby mamas.
When you're married, you go to court, you got your shit together.
Boom. That speaks volumes.
That's big.
You know what I'm saying? You go to court and tell them that you married, you and your wife have y'all's own crib, y'all's own place, and own car, own money. You know what I'm saying? Y'all well put off.
They're
gonna look at that. They're gonna look at that like, okay, so they have a stable household.
They have a stable environment. Like
this, everything. They have a 2-parent household, which means that there is no need for babysitters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're always gonna be supervised. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be well taken care of. Like that's the type of stuff that they look at that a lot of people don't think about.
They just think about divorce. I'm losing money. She about to get half my shit. When it's so much more than that. Like things could happen. Like for example.
By the way, if you feel like that is where shit is headed, you shouldn't even like give them the time of day. Like a lot of people need to stop wasting motherfuckers' time because a lot of people don't even have the idea of marriage, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, for any relationship, marriage
y'all
is the end goal.
Y'all gonna have to have that talk eventually, like
exactly.
And if that's something, that's another thing.
And it
like,
don't take
ladies,
10 years to know that this nigga want to marry you, bro.
Ladies,
as a man, I can tell you.
Ladies, listen to me. Please listen to me when I say this. If you are with somebody, and I'm a firm believer of there's certain shit I don't do as a girlfriend. If you are with somebody for XYZ years, we going on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're still a girlfriend and you're doing everything a wife is supposed to do, you're pretty much giving that man all the milk without having to buy the damn cow. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, he's not gonna marry you. He's comfortable with where he's at because he's the only one that's benefiting from it. That's it. Like, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It goes the same way. Like, fellas, like, stop, you know what I'm saying?
Go for more than beauty.
Go for more than what she looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's not...
Because beauty gonna fade. She gonna get old.
Exactly. Like, a woman's only in her prime and her... up until her, like, late 30s. You see what I'm saying? So, like... all of that beauty that you've cuffed her for, that shit will fade away eventually. And then what? Now you got to start over because you was going for the beauty instead of the person. Like, y'all need to learn how to love this person. You know what I'm saying?
Speak their love language. That's why love language is so important. Like, yours is touch and words affirmation.
I don't know. I thought it was sex somewhere in there.
That's.
Was sex in there somewhere?
That's pretty much
I love that shit.
Touch and words of affirmation.
I love that shit.
You know my nerves.
Listen.
You have to learn each other's, like, love language. Like, his is quality time. It's quality time and words of affirmation. Mine is acts of service, and I like gifts. So it's like, if you don't speak each other's love language, you might try and love that person in your love language and figure out why they're not responding to that because it's not their love language.
Right.
So you have, that's
right. So you can have somebody whose love language is like affirmation or gifts of affirmation or whatever. Yeah. But that other person, they might not be so big on gifts. They might be more big on quality time. Mm-hmm. You know, so you kind of got to, like, know who you're being with before you can do that. And then what's even crazier is that a lot of people, when they get into these relationships, they go bad. They don't know their own love language yet because they don't know themselves. Back to what we was talking about earlier. They don't know themselves. So they don't know how they like to be loved. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And because they don't know how they like to be loved, they feel like they're not being loved at all, even though this other person is showing them the love. It's just not the love that they're looking for.
It's like trying to speak English to somebody who only speaks Chinese.
Exactly. You know
they're not going to understand.
They're not going to understand. They're not going to feel what you're saying. They're not going to...
We just got off on a tangent.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. But regardless...
got off on a tangent.
Regardless. Okay, so I feel like we've covered quite a bit of where, you know, the dysfunction comes from. So how do you think that people can fix or start to fix this problem that we're having with Black households? Because these kids nowadays need two parent households. You know, they need guidance, and that's exactly why you have all of these, all of these bad neighborhoods with all these kids who's doing all this crazy stuff, and they're not even at the age of 18. That's why these kids are dying before they hit 18. There's no structure in the household. There's no guidance, and I know for a fact, like coming from where I come from, a lot of us don't have no OG to look up to who could teach us the game, teach us the way to move, teach us the safe ways to move and stuff like that.
It honestly starts at home. Like, I know, like, I understand, I know things happen. But at the same time, we as women, we are the gatekeepers. Right. We say, if we don't want to have sex, we don't have sex.
Right.
If you ain't got a condom on, and you think you about to slide in it raw, and you ain't on birth control, you not tracking your ovulation, nothing like that. We just got to be more careful with who we decide to give our wombs to, because not everybody is worthy of that.
Right. And then another thing, ladies, if he tells you that he does not want a baby,
ooh-wee.
If he tells you that he does not want a baby, you cannot expect for him to just up and be ready for a baby. Like, that's another big thing. You know, a lot of people have babies when they're not ready to be a father or a mother, and then when they have this
29
child,
and I'm still not ready. Like,
right. So like when I had my kids, like, I wasn't ready to have kids, like, at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought I was, but I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still not to this day. But now I have them, and I have no choice but to be ready. So, you know, I just feel like
that conversation needs to be had before
it needs to be
there.
had. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing that'll destroy the household. So I feel like being more careful with your womb. You know what I'm saying? 2, knowing who you're messing with, like, know who you're dealing with. Pay attention to the red flags. You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, like I said, it goes on both parts. Like, women protect ourselves, but at the same time, sometimes y'all niggas be lying. Like, well, boy, we'll sell you a dream. We'll sell you a dream, and then you just like Cinderella. Oh my gosh.
But see, that's exactly why there should be a father in the household to teach them this game. Yeah. You know, like, I talk to I want my baby mama to be happy with somebody else. Like, please, so you can, like, be happy and, like, not be so fucking angry all the fucking time and bring my day down. Right. Like, I literally give her the game. You see what I'm saying? Every dude that she mess with, I tell her, like, I don't care who you mess with. Like, as long as he makes you happy and he treats my kids right, you know what I'm saying? I don't care who you bring around them. That's your judgment. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's your judgment of character about who you bring around our kids. Now, if you bring the wrong people around our kids, that's on you. You see what I'm saying? That's your fault. That's a guilt that you have to live with. Same thing if I was to bring the wrong type of people around my kids. That's something that I have to live with. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I give her the game. So it's like, I tell her, like, when a nigga texts you and tell you that you beautiful every day, don't listen to that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's game. You know
like,
what
it might sound good.
He telling
I'm all
you
about
beautiful,
action.
but he's just trying to invoke the conversation.
And then
you
not
don't
to
know
mention
his real intentions. You know what I'm saying?
Like, not to mention, I have a lot of guy friends. I have a shitload of guy friends, and I be listening to what the fuck dudes be talking about.
And we be talking about some shit.
Y'all be talking about some shit. And I've even heard some of my guy friends say, they won't take a woman seriously who got so many kids.
And that's another thing. Like, ladies, like, the reason why you save, like, and protect yourself is because you don't want to be a worn out pony by the time find your jockey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to already ran your race before you've had an owner who could win the race for you. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, females will have 3-4 baby daddies with 5 or 6 kids and then wonder why, you know, they're alone.
As a man, that's a lot of responsibility, especially if he ain't got no kids. Exactly. Oh, that's a lot of responsibility.
And that's what they want too. So, like, they be like, oh, they be saying stupid shit like, oh, I don't want a man who got kids. But, bitch, you got, like, 6.
I feel like you can only say that if you don't have kids. Like, before he came around, I didn't date dudes with kids because I didn't have great experiences. But I feel like you can only say, I don't date men or women who have kids if you don't have kids.
Right.
But other than that, if you can't do that. Yeah. You can't say that. Like, because if somebody said that to you, you kind of feel like, oh, okay, like,
right.
But I feel like you just can't say that. Like, I mean, because it's understandable. It's understandable if somebody who doesn't have kids, excuse me, it's understandable if somebody who doesn't have kids doesn't want to date somebody who has kids because they don't have kids. They don't know the other side of, they don't have that responsibility. They've never had to have the responsibility, and some might not want that responsibility yet.
Right.
Some want a legacy of their own instead of taking care of somebody else's legacy. That's just how some men think, and that's honestly kind of the reality of it sometimes. Like, especially when it comes to like men who like are like big bank, 6 figures. I'm making this. I'm making that. Like,
right.
High value men. They don't.
We're not about to exactly like for instance, if I'm a millionaire right now, right?
You gonna want somebody that's young, ain't got no kids.
I don't even think that's what it would be. I feel like if I'm a millionaire right now, I'm not going to tie myself to a liability.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I could like you a lot. You know what I'm saying? Be a millionaire and like you a lot. But I can see that you got 5 kids, 4 baby daddies. All 4 of your baby daddies on child support. You've never been married.
Exactly. That's kind of like a red flag to him because it's kind of like, okay, so all of these dudes can't beat a problem. Like something. Exactly. It's got to be something.
And in his mind, he's like, I make 7 figures a year. Like, you put me on child support, you getting 6 figures of it.
Man, you know like a man with 7 figures who makes 7 figures, they're legitimately looking for a certain type of woman. To be honest, like they're looking for somebody.
If a man makes 7 figures, they're not gonna mess with a chick who don't at least make 6.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It really.
Or if anything, like she gotta be like
bad, like
dead, like drop dead,
like Miami Beach stripper bad,
like drop dead, like gorgeous type shit. Right, but that's why it's always I feel like that's important just to watch who you give your womb to.
Exactly. So one, be cautious of who you give your womb to.
Yeah.
Because that could be a problem. 2.
And also, wait, man, if the bitch is crazy, put a condom on, because you know the bitch crazy. If she's crazy, she was crazy before she got pregnant.
It's going to be worse.
It's going to be even worse. She's going to bust.
It's going to be worse when she's not pregnant anymore.
No, it's going to be hell. She's going to beat up every girlfriend you have.
And it's not even that. Like, if she was already crazy and insecure and things of that nature before the baby came, once the baby came, she officially feels like marriage is next. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, once a baby comes into the picture, the very next step should be marriage. Actually, the first step should have been marriage and then the baby. But society don't work that way no more, apparently. So, it's like...
Did you know 95% of the rich marry?
Well, yeah. I mean, it would be stupid for them to not marry. You see what I'm saying? Like, marriage within itself is a tax write-off.
Yeah, it's a benefit.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then it gives you the opportunity to have someone else help you with all of your shit. And then when you're already rich, you're going to 9 times out of 10 find somebody who has money too. So when y'all both joint, like, y'all both are, like, extremely wealthy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it just wouldn't make sense for you to not get married once you so rich, you know what I'm saying? Because you want. And also,
I mean, you can have a beach house, you can have everything in the world money can buy, but if you don't have nobody to share it with,
exactly,
that's a lonely world.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? And then you'll never be able to fit in no matter where you go because you have money. Your family changes on you because you have so much money and stuff like that. So I feel like marriage is a big thing that more people need to, get back to. So I feel like we need to break those chains. Like, don't worry about all of the bad stuff that's happened in the past. Don't worry about your mom's past relationships and your dad's past relationships because they're not the standard. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is the standard. There's no such thing as a standard.
I think each one is. I mean, there's certain guidelines, but there's not like You do this, you get married.
Right.
You do that, you get married. It's not like a...
Exactly. People have to learn themselves first to know what they like. Mm-hmm. And then make sure that this person that they want to deal with is somebody that fits that criteria without all the red flags. You know what I'm saying? Now, I say without all the red flags because everybody has at least one.
Has at least something fucked up. I'm sorry.
You know
Has one
There's always at least one thing. But you can always find someone good within that.
Yeah, like as long as it's not like extreme. Like it can be one red flag, but it could be like a red flag might be like I don't know, she's hot headed or she's a hothead, but as long as she's not like physical or like likes to call the police every 5 minutes and start trying to whoop your ass and shit, that's a big ass red flag because that's a problem. Right. That's a problem. I don't feel like no woman should put her hands on their man.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing. Females, stop putting your fucking hands on me. I don't give a damn
how bad you are, how big you are, how good you can fight. A man's strength is something else. If a man put his hands on me, I'll just call my daddy. Because I ain't got time to be getting knocked the fuck out.
But look, but here's another thing, though. Like, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they get into, like, black women. This is the big excuse that black men use of why they like white women more, right?
Don't even get me started.
This is the big excuse. I'm gonna call it an excuse because I think it's bullshit.
It's a personality trait.
They claim that black women are just more aggressive, more disrespectful, and more verbally abusive.
When have I ever gotten in your
My thing is, my dude, that is a trait.
That's a personality
I've met
trait.
White women who are the exact same way. I've met black women who are the exact same way. However, I've also met black women like her who aren't in your face, who know how to be feminine, who know how to let you take lead as long as you lead it in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So it's a stereotype at this point that black women are aggressive because not all black women are aggressive. It's just really just a personality.
It's a personality trait. It really is. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I met some aggressive ass. One of my friends, goddamn, I'd be like, girl,
have you not
calm
seen
down.
New York chicks? Them New York chicks, them bitches is aggressive as hell. Like, they be aggressive as hell. But that don't mean, you know what I'm saying, that they're bad people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that they don't know how to sit down, listen, and do what needs to be done and be submissive.
And not to mention,
a lot of people are fuck niggas, so it's hard to be submissive to a fuck nigga.
That is true.
You feel me?
That is 100% true. Like, that's why I always say, like, black women, we don't have a problem submitting. We don't have a problem, but at the same time, you got to give us something to go on for us to do that. Like, just because you are a man and you're quote unquote the man of the household, if you ain't doing shit,
you ain't the man of the household.
You're not the man of the household. Like, if you, it doesn't work like that. Like, you got to give me something to submit to. Like, if I'm doing everything in the house, if we're doing everything in the house and you just sitting back chilling and you tell me to, can you do, no. Like,
right.
Once again, it goes back to leadership in the household.
Exactly. And what people have to understand is that the way that the black household is in general, household in general, but especially the black household,
is that on girls too.
It's broken. Mm-hmm. All right, and there's so many different reasons why it's broken that you can't really say that it's one thing because everybody in different cities and different areas experience different circumstances. However, the common situation is that it is broken. Most men don't know how to have value for themselves. Mm-hmm. Most women don't know their own value. Most men don't know how to be upstanding, hardworking men.
Women and girls and boys need their father.
Exactly. So this is the only time we can fix it. You know what I'm saying? The only way that it can be fixed is from the current generation. So if we don't fix it, then it's going to be up to our kids. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't fix it, it's going to be up to their kids. But the problem is we are the ones who setting the example. So how can we expect for them to break a chain if
we don't set an
we
example?
are the chain that they see and that they fall into?
Like, everything, legitimately, everything goes back to the household. Like, because if there's not a man in the house, then if you got a boy child, he doesn't have an example of how a man operates. And you know what? I don't know. Listen, I'm just gonna say it. You can be a strong woman as you want to be, but you can teach a man how to, you can raise a man, but you can't teach him how to be a man, what he needs to do as a man, because we've never been men. We don't know what it takes to be a man. The only thing I can teach you is what I know and what I see. And if you don't know, because maybe that you didn't have that example, you're just going to teach him what you know.
Exactly.
Just like a little girl. She doesn't have her father in the house. She doesn't know what type of men to pick. So she's going to see what her mom does, or she's going to try and go and find it somewhere, and it could be so toxic, but she not know any better because she didn't have that example.
Exactly.
She's not going to know.
Exactly. And then as a man, if you can be raised in a house with your mom and it just be your mom, but your mom is in and out of relationships, so now at this point, the only way that you've seen how to treat a woman is bad. You know what I'm saying? You watch all of these men mistreat your parent.
Everything goes back to the house.
And that's what you know now. You know what I'm saying? That's what you see. And when there's not a man in the house who actually treats your mother the way that she's supposed to be treated, then you don't know how to treat a woman.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another reason why it's important to have a two-parent household that's healthy.
Exactly, because I always say, because, even though me and my dad we built a relationship, I didn't have that growing up. I always told myself that when I get married, Daddy is going to be there.
For sure.
Daddy is going to show our daughter how to love. How they're going to see healthy shit in the household, not toxic shit all the daggone time.
Right, exactly. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close it up for the night. We appreciate everybody who came by and watched. Make sure you leave a couple of comments. Give us a couple of new topics to talk about. This was our very first podcast. Of course, the channel itself is going to grow. And the channel is going to grow thanks to you guys. So could you please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We have so much more to talk about.
We have Facebook too?
Yeah, we have a Facebook. Follow the Facebook page.
Like it's on live right now?
Well, no, we're not on Facebook Live.
Oh, I thought it did at the same time.
Nah, we're on YouTube Live.
Oh, okay.
But like I was saying, make sure you follow the page, subscribe, hit that bell so you'll know when we have another panel that comes up. And we really appreciate you guys coming by and watching with us. Taylon, this is Erica Deshay, and we are out of here. We appreciate it.
Spirit fingers.